let's kick it off. We got the University of Arizona going up against K-State. Okay, I got a kind of a open-ended question for you guys. So U of A played Northern Arizona last week. Your alma maters, U of A and mine, NAU. Did Arizona fall victim to what you want to call the colloquial look ahead spot? Because I was not. I mean, it was not a good performance by them last week. Or is there a real cause for concern in your opinion, Seth?
Look ahead and letdown spot, right? Like, so barely making it out of New Mexico, kind of have a huge offensive performance, and then the look ahead to Kansas State. So there may be a twofer there. Look, this is, I'm going to break these numbers down. This is some crazy stuff. Yeah, let me just talk the numbers. So first and foremost, Arizona can't stop anyone. They are 128th in points per equal. You get to the 40-yard line or better with Arizona, you're scoring, okay? And you're scoring a touchdown at that. But let's look at the actual EPA numbers. So Kansas State on offense is the 64th passing offense, but they're the 16th rushing offense. Arizona is the 81st pass defense and 47th rush defense. And then Arizona is the 26th passing offense. Rush, they're the 50th. K-State on defense, 119th against the pass and 27th against the rush. I don't think either of these teams are going to be able to stop anyone. I think we don't even talk about over-unders here. This thing opened at 55, now at 58. I don't think that there's a number that's too high. I'm laying 100. I know that, I say that tongue in cheek here, but these teams, literally, it is good on good. Like, their weaknesses, each team can exploit. Arizona is going to be able to throw the hell out of this ball, and Kansas State's going to be able to run how and wherever they want and probably be able to pass against this Arizona team that we talked about. Can't stop anybody, and basically you get to the 40-yard line, you're scoring a touchdown. So over all day. Now, that being said, in a shootout, I think you want to have the points. I think there's 7.5s in the market now. And 8 sounds about right, just so you can push in overtime with the 2-point conversion rules. You put a gun to my head, I got to be a homer, bear down Arizona. But I think the real value, unfortunately, is the over. I don't see how any of these teams stop each other. It's just an inevitable, someone's getting to a higher number and the game ends.
Steve, what do you think? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean that's 100% right. I mean, listen, talk about the over under being 100. I mean, that was literally the total of Arizona's first game against New Mexico, 61-39. Listen, this is the battle of the Wildcats, and again, as a U of A alumni, this is definitely Arizona's going to show out that they're the real Wildcats here. Now, with that being said, I think Steph's spot on. I mean, you look at K-State's game last week against Tulane. I mean, Darian Minson threw for 342 yards, 218 of those in the first half. Fafita is a better quarterback than Mensa is. And oh, by the way, we have arguably one of the best receivers in the country, definitely top 5 in Tessaroa McMillan. So, I mean, this is going to be an absolute slugfest. Yeah, I think 55 is way too low, absolutely too low. You see U of A bounce back here. I don't know what it is about NAU, but they historically play us tough. I mean, they beat us 3 years ago. Yeah, but in all seriousness, I mean, you look at this again, you look at the matchups here. This definitely favors a shootout, and this is the classic game of whoever has the ball last is going to win. Now, K-State barely survived against Tulane last week, and it took a strip sack fumble, return for 60 yards, and a very questionable offensive pass interference call against Tulane that would have at least tied it with a touchdown. So I'm not sold here that this is going to be a more than a 1-possession game. I'm with Seth here. You get 7.5. I feel pretty confident. You get 8 or 8.5. I don't know how you pass up those points. I really don't.
Yeah. To your point, Seth, you said this opened at the total because I'm peeking at this now with your take here. So 55.5 it opened.
58.
Now it's at 58. So points we're expecting in this one. It sounds like.
I don't. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you look at these numbers; they jump out at you. Not only are both these teams efficient on offense, but literally each defense struggles against the thing that they're the strongest on. So it's like it is just a kind of a synergy here. And like I said, Arizona can't stop anyone. So they couldn't stop NAU, can't stop New Mexico. K-State's going to have success here. Now, the thing is, we haven't really seen Fafita in that offense actually go against a non, what was that? Are those both FCS teams? No, what?
No, New
Mexico's-
Mexico's FBS.
Yeah,
Oh,
FBS.
Like, second tier G5, FBS, right? So second class citizen. I mean, we haven't seen him go. This will be the first Big 12 matchup, right? And so what does that look like? Now Kansas State did struggle against Tulane, so it's kind of Tulane I would put in the middle of the pack. So yeah, I don't know. I bear down Arizona, but
How much does Arizona's hopes dwindle of winning the Big 12 if they lose this game?
That's hard to answer because Kansas State's touted and I think one of the betting favorites. So, if you lose to the favorite, is how much does that alter things? And then you got to factor in what's going on with Utah and Cam Rising and potentially injured, which again we called. And if again it becomes K-State as number one, and Arizona loses to number one, can you recover from that? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, are you talking about Big 12?
Yes.
Kevin? Yeah, I can't imagine that there's a undefeated Big 12 champion. I think you can argue based off of right. And so if we're talking one loss, there's definitely time to bounce back here. K-State has us, and you talk about look ahead, they have OK State next. And so you look at it, I think Utah, quite frankly, probably has the easiest path schedule wise. But like Seth mentioned, Cam Rising in that hand, what does that look like? You throw them out the mix. I think it's quite literally anyone's game. And then if you have 2 losses or less in the Big 12, I think you're still pretty comfortable having a fighting chance come championship time. But, listen, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Arizona's going to win, and it's not going to matter.
So we had 7 teams in the Big 12 forecasted all within one total win from each other. Anybody can win the Big 12.
Yeah.
It's going to the Big 12 is just the new Pac-12. Period. Chaos will happen. It's going to happen.
Chaos,
it almost
cannibalism.
happened last week. This is when we're going to get in the thick of it. So to answer your question, it's not ideal, but it's not ideal for either of these teams, to be honest. Right. And you could argue that maybe if Kansas State loses to Arizona, is Arizona now the favorite? So it's kind of, this is a unique situation.